And before we begin, let's thank our sponsors. Inspect All Pest Services and providing the highest quality termite, pest and wildlife control. That's not all. They take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services there in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. Great people. InspectAllServices.com. InspectAllServices.com. The Mad Dog Manny Aurora, best criminal defense attorney in the world. Need the Mad Dog? Whether it's for white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. Based out of Georgia, but litigates all over the United States. That is the AuroraLawFirm.com. Dr. David Markwell, 10 therapist in-house there at Ridgeline Counseling. 3 locations in Georgia, but can do virtual sessions anywhere in the world. Very helpful technology. Ain't it great? MarkwellTherapy.com, or you can email him directly at ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. FBC Insurance, I know a lot of you right now getting through the hurricanes, reshopping those insurance companies. Well, you can shop over 35 A-rated companies. Let FBC Insurance do that for you. Multi-policy bundled discounts, whether it's for your house, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, personal policy, 888-308-1841. Or you can email them at info@fbcinsuranceservices.com. You can always get a quote online at fbcinsuranceservices.com. She's the guy. That's Rachel Guy.
I'm your guy.
Looking to buy or sell a house in Florida or Georgia, 404-797-4600, or you can email that guy.
This guy.
I am RachelGuy@gmail.com. Alternate Power Solutions. A lot of you probably now really taking them seriously. Family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. A lot of people wish that they had alternate power solutions over these last couple hurricanes.
I want one of those guys.
No joke.
I told him.
A+, Douglas.
Yeah.
A+ rating with a BBB. You pay nothing until the job is complete, and you are a happy customer. Get a free home assessment, 770-853-7571, or you can go to poweringgeorgia.com. Get $500 off your entire installation by using the discount code Bailey. That's me. Woo. JHM Land Solutions, you need them now after the hurricanes, right?
Yep.
Grading, land clearing, mulching, trees, need them cut down. JHM Land Solutions, servicing Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. No project too big, too small for JHM Land Solutions. 770-274-9120. And then Jayco Contracting, that'd be one Cliff Bratcher. Great dude. Roofing,
such a nice fella.
Roofing specialist. Busy man right now. Gutter and roofing specialist. 770-316-3876. I'm telling you, that roofing business, you're always like, can I trust them? You can trust Cliff. I promise you that. They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, the creator of Pink Panther, plus free gutter guards with the purchase of a roof. Satisfaction guaranteed, commercial and residential. JaycoContracting.com, but you can call Cliff personally directly, 770-316-3876. Looking to sponsor the podcast and or the radio show. If you're in the Orlando or Jacksonville market, reach out to me, thebaileyshow.com. I'm an easy person to reach, and we can have a conversation. Would love to have you on the show so we can get your message out. All right, let's begin.
Go ahead and leave a comment about how you deal with your children leaving home while I recover.
Honey, I raised the kids.
Our kids leaving the nest is never easy. So in order to cope, Jason and Rachel have decided to share the journey of their kids, Caleb and Ariel, or Bees as most know her. Follow the story in this podcast.
Honey, I raised the kids.
All right, there it is, episode 29 of Honey, I Raised the Kids, the podcast about us becoming empty nesters. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. That right there is my lovely wife, Rachel Guy.
Hey, y'all.
Together, we are Ray J.
That's us.
Ray J.
Let's get it.
Never in a million years did I think that this podcast would be causing more of a stir than the BS podcast.
All the ladies love me.
Yeah, we got a lot of great feedback at Podcast and Pours this past weekend. You guys, I'm happy you guys dig this what we're doing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good therapy.
It's great therapy. It's funny when I came up with the idea and I wanted to do it in California and they did not want me to do it in California, which is
they're dumb.
Which is a whole nother story.
It's fine.
But I was like, I know this is going to hit. This is going to be good. And it's funny, the feedback that I get even after 29 episodes, because it's just, it's different than, what we talk about on the BS for the most part. Right.
Yeah.
And you have Rach. She's a superstar. So everybody loves Rach, with the exception of maybe 2 people.
It's cool.
And
I'm fine with it.
And it's very relatable. And so like the feedback that we got at Tannery Row this past weekend for Podcasting Pours 3.
All us bad moms got to be bad moms together.
Right. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I remember that. I did that. I understand that. I did that. I totally understand that. So thanks for digging the show. We appreciate it. We appreciate you listening and sharing the love and all that good stuff and relating. It was pretty, what was really neat is, throughout my career, it's one of the highlights for me is, I've always said this about radio or I guess podcasting now is, my goal every day when I went into a studio or even when I do this is to say something that would resonate with somebody that later on in the day they would talk about.
I feel like you do that very well.
Right. And kind of not on purpose, it's to have a conversation that's relatable, that evokes emotion.
Sure.
So much so that when someone, let's say one person, the husband listens to the show, but the wife doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they go back home and at the dinner table later on that day, they say, oh my God, I was listening to Bailey. I was listening to the show, or whatever the case may be. And then they have a conversation and then they kind of have their own little show at the dinner table.
They do.
That has always been my goal. Always been my goal.
Well, it's good because you've grown that goal now to where you've got the husbands are listening to your BS podcast and the wives are listening to us.
Right. I know. We're getting them. Get both sides of it. Both sides. So if you like this and you want to dig the BS podcast, you can subscribe by going to thebaileyshow.com and you can keep us in business, or you can become a sponsor, and that would keep us in business too, because this is what I do for a living. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
That's only if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So that's
like
that's
it.
what we
You can
need.
be a part.
But
like a party.
But my point is that, this past weekend at Tannery Row for Podcasting Pours 3, when I was talking to people, mainly about this podcast, is I would hear stories. Like, I would have long I was having long conversations with people about some of the stuff that we talk about with Caleb and Bees.
Sure.
And they would say things like, oh my God, I remember when my son,
or my daughter's getting ready to be that age. She's this age and we're prepping ourselves.
Or Bailey, you're too hard, or I don't like your rules. I agree with Rachel, or, of course, most people are going to agree with you because
I know, because you got a lot of rules.
That's the cool thing to do, So,
I know.
But that's cool. That's what this is about. That's what the world is, right? You want to listen to somebody that hopefully is relatable enough to your life, and you can take bits and pieces, whether you agree or disagree. That's the good stuff. But the best part for me is when I finally get to meet you and we have that conversation face to face, whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. There's no hate, there's no malice. It's just it's a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what tickles me pink. That's the tickler.
I like to tickle you.
I know that has always been the tickler for me, is when you get to talk. I was talking to people at PP3 and they were, talking about, bees going to college and their daughter going to college, and the drinking thing and this and this and that and the boyfriend thing. And
I had one mom tell me, she said, God, I must be a real bad mom because we dropped our freshman son off to college, UGA, for the first time. They moved him in. They got all his stuff moved in, and surprise, because he was at band practice and because he's on the the UGA team, the Redcoats, which is so cool. It's like really big deal. So he was at practice and mom and dad set up bedroom and had everything all ready for him when he got back, and packed his little mini fridge full of beer.
Yeah, well, don't let that get out. Some people.
What? Surprise.
The parent police are out there. They're going to get you.
Oh, yeah. Like
they're going to get you.
Else.
So, this was, we drove up from Orlando to do Podcasting Pours 3.
We did.
And we're lucky to get out. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to because of the hurricane. And there was a couple little detours that we had to take, mainly near where we live because
of the flooding.
Because the flooding and the trees and the debris and stuff. So we get up there we get to Chuck's house. We stay at Chuck's house, which that will be this week's episodes of the BS. Trust me, this week's episodes of the BS. And so we get there, Friday night, and then Saturday morning, we get out there and we get all set up and we're ready to rock and roll. So our daughter, Ariel, she was at UGA with her boyfriend. So her boyfriend goes to UGA. We call him Ginger Ale because he's a redhead. And so Ginger Ale goes to UGA. She goes to Alabama, and it was parents' weekend at UGA.
She made the plan because she was planning on coming to see us. They were planning on coming to see us for Podcast and Force 3, that it was easier for her to drive and spend the weekend and only drive an hour from Athens as opposed to driving like 3 or 4 hours from Alabama. Right.
Totally cool. Get it. Understand.
Yeah.
It still doesn't sink in with me. Not the boyfriend thing. I've learned to live with the boyfriend. It's gotten serious.
Yeah.
I've met him once.
He's a good kid.
Spend some time with him.
Yeah.
Until proven otherwise, he's good in my book.
And I say kid, he's a young adult.
Yeah, he's 21, right?
He's 23.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's Caleb's age.
This is the first that I'm hearing that he's 23. Did you all lie to me?
No, it was never a conversation. He's a senior. You've been told that he's a senior.
He's a senior in college?
Yes, you have been told that numerous times.
I know nothing of this.
Yeah, you do.
Don't do that. I do
all
not.
Right. Well, then
I was never told this.
You were okay. You did not hear or were not participating in that part of the conversation. It has been a topic of conversation numerous times because when he graduates, he's taken over his dad's company. He's a senior this year. He graduates this year. He is 23.
Oh, boy.
But he just turned 23.
Okay.
Like literally just like a month ago.
Well, that makes things interesting.
Okay.
Right. Do you agree?
I mean, we'll see.
Well, that wasn't the question. I said that makes things interesting. Yes or no?
I think it makes things different, but he's in a different place in his world where he's not I'm not opposed because he's in a different place in his world where he's not, if she were to be dating somebody that is a sophomore like she is and 20, then, you know.
I got to think about this.
Okay.
I don't want to overreact.
Yeah.
All right. We can't have Henry snoring in the background.
Henry, shush.
I don't want to overreact.
Okay.
I got to think about this.
Think about it.
Because
can I tell you what I was going to say?
Spit it out.
Yeah. So if she were dating somebody that's her age, they're partying and not like completely sure about their future. And like, they're in the beginning phases of figuring stuff out. He's already got all of that out of his system and he's chill.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to overreact.
Yeah.
So it's this weird world of age that we live in, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in high school,
he's technically 3.5 years older than her.
Right. So if you're in high school and you're a senior,
mm-hmm.
Right, you got to do something about it. Yeah, if you're a senior and you're dating a freshman, that's bad.
Well, I don't know. You people do it. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, like society norms, it's bad because the senior is going to be 17, 18 years old and the freshman's going to be 13. And that's just weird and gross and creepy.
Yeah. But once you get into college, it's different. I'm following. Okay. I'm sorry.
Focus.
I apologize.
Follow me.
I'm following.
Okay.
Right.
You're skipping like 5 chapters ahead.
All right, let's go.
Just follow along.
Okay. I'm following.
So in today's standards, that's creepy. But I will tell you that when I was in high school
mm-hmm.
and even before me,
mm-hmm.
It was a thing. Like the seniors, the freshman girls would come in and it's like fresh meat. And the fresh.
Right. It used to be a thing.
Yeah. It used to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then age thing, Henry, you can't lick like that. It's weird.
He's trying to love.
So that's weird. And I get society standards weird, but this is a different situation, even though it's the same age gap.
Right.
because she's 19.
Well, she's almost 20.
Don't do that.
Okay.
She's 19.
All right. She's 19.
Okay. That's like saying, well, she's going to be 25 in 5.5 years. So
Okay.
it's going to be fine. She's 19 right now.
All right.
She's 19.
Yeah.
And he's 23.
Yeah.
So that's a 4-year gap. Pros and cons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Top of my head, there are more pros than cons.
Correct.
So he's more mature.
Yep.
He's been through it, most of it, I would like to think, as far as the partying and stuff like that. I'm not saying he doesn't want to still party and he's not going to still party, but he's been through those freshman, sophomore.
Correct. He's not like crazy partying. He's like
and
chill college.
And he realizes that he's got he's got to get his act together, because when he graduates, Dad, and I'm assuming just from what I've heard and the vibe that I get, Dad's got his act together. Dad's very successful business.
Yep. Dad has his act together and he's not playing around.
Yeah, good family.
Yep.
And this was the plan. You're taking over Dad's business, and if you screw it up, we got problems.
Correct.
All right. So that's the vibe that I get, because he's
God-fearing Georgia.
Right. So those are all pros.
Yep.
Right. He's like, okay, here's again, this is friends listening. This is the first time hearing about this. This was not what I was going to talk about in this episode at all.
It's the first time that you're recognizing that you're hearing it.
Don't do that. I've not heard this. If I would have heard this, I would have reacted the same way, Rachel.
All right.
I've never heard. No, this is what you people do.
No.
This is, you guys have conversations and you say it in the air so it exists. And then if I'm not listening or I'm not paying attention,
you were literally part of the conversation, but it's okay.
All right. Then you guys come back and go, I remember the day and the time where it was said out loud and you were in the bathroom, but I know you heard it because there's the hole in the bottom of the door.
You don't always listen, but that's okay.
This one I would have listened to.
You just pick and choose. Okay. You would have just like.
So here's the con. Okay. Again, top, just from the hip, top ahead.
Okay.
Is that he's going to want to get serious when he graduates. He's going to want, he's going to be, up to his knees in business. Mm-hmm. He's going to be busy. Mm-hmm. And if he loves our daughter, he's going to want her to stick around. But that means he's going to want her to deal with his world, which means that she would have to put off her world.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case.
All right. Well, that's the only con.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen or it's coming true. I'm just saying that's the only thing I'd think of.
Right. So like the way that this weekend worked, where so she went to UGA to go and meet his parents for the first time, and then it came down to he was supposed to come to Podcast and Pours with her, but he got a ticket to the game. He offered to buy her a ticket to the game also so she could also go. And she said, no, I'm going to see my parents. You go and have fun, and I'll see you after.
Right.
And so I don't foresee there being any issues because our daughter is so headstrong and so driven in her direction that she's going to allow any kind of deviation from her path of what she has planned to do. So they will align parallel together and be okay with it, but I don't foresee it being like oh well, I want you to come here and be here close to me. They're okay with the distance for her to get her things done and him to get his things done.
And then here's another. I don't know what this would be. I don't know if this would be a pro or a con. It's a prawn.
A prawn.
Yeah, it's like an in-betweener.
All right.
Is that, do we want our daughter at 19 and a sophomore in college to have a serious relationship with a man? He's a man.
Mm-hmm. She's a young lady
that's about to, start his life outside of college. Or do we want her to date around so she knows what that's like?
Do you hear yourself right now?
Yeah, I do. And
Okay.
but
Just checking.
I'm trying to be like fair. All
Yeah.
right. I don't want her to date at all.
Right.
Right. I mean but I've gotten to a point where I have to accept reality.
Correct.
And because I'm not going to win.
Do you know what reality is? That we don't have a choice.
Well, reality is I have no say in anything.
Neither one of us do.
Well, you probably have more say than I do.
I mean, I can suggest, but she's still going to do whatever she wants to do because she is, in fact, our kid.
But I understand that. But I know I don't want, to answer my own question, I don't want her to date around. I mean, it sounds sturdy. I don't want her to date around, but I also don't want her. See, here's the catch-22. Now, it's different with guys, like, of course, and anybody that's got a son, you're like, oh, man, go out there and date as many chicks as you can, man. Go get it. That's what you do. My mom never cared how many women I dated when I was younger, because I'm a guy. It doesn't matter. It's different.
Yeah.
Now with girls, when you say date around, it sounds dirty. It sounds sleazy.
It does. You got to say talking,
whatever. Yeah. But you don't want your kids to be like kind of barriered off from the world. So if they do settle down with someone early, they don't know what it's like. And then the marriage doesn't work or the relationship doesn't work because they feel like they haven't gone out there and experienced the world. Because that's an easy justification of breaking up with somebody.
Yeah.
Is you're with them. Say people that were together in high school, like 95% of those relationships don't work. And don't tell me like, well, my parents, they were forced. In that generation, they were forced. Like that's what they did. They got married right out of high school and they might have stayed together for religious reasons because our parents, the boomer generation, refused to get divorced. That's why they didn't talk about domestic abuse. They didn't talk about any of that stuff. And you want to know the two big reasons why. One, religion, and two, embarrassment. They didn't want to be like, oh my God, you're Catholic and you're getting divorced.
You're divorced? You have to leave the church.
Have you ever seen the movie Walk the Line? And when June Carter goes into the little, dollar store or general store and she's buying a fishing pole or something.
Yep.
And I mean, she's a big star. She's a big country star and she's sitting there shopping and stuff. And some random lady in there is like, divorce is a sin. But that was the mentality then. That changed my generation, Gen X, that changed. We didn't buy into that. We're like, divorce is divorce. You're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
So when you are with somebody at an early age and you feel like you're getting married, or you do get married, and then you've missed out on life, then the first sign of trouble in that relationship, you blame that.
What if you don't miss out on life and you're just doing life together?
You can't do life together until you do life by yourself.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty profound.
Well,
that's like a back tattoo. I wish I could remember what I just said because that was nifty.
You can't do life together until you've done life by yourself.
Yeah, that's good. You want to get that tattooed on your back?
Sure, babe. Let's go.
That's sexy.
Can we have like matching tattoos?
I don't want it.
Why?
I just say
You just said it.
I know. I just
then
say
why
things.
do I have to get it?
I don't know. You just have to get it.
No, I don't.
So, I have some friends that were together all throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're still married to this day.
Yeah, but they broke up in college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is true, but I know it's kind of true.
Okay.
They broke up in college, not because they wanted to break up. I think they broke up in college or gave each other space in college so they could make sure
That it was right.
that it was right,
Okay.
which means like they literally said, I'm going to go sleep with somebody else.
And then they came back and they're still together.
And they're still together this
Yeah.
day. And, they're the best couple. They're very happy.
Yeah.
But I look at, my high school sweetheart,
Mm-hmm.
and we were together. Like we started dating the first month freshman year. I mean, we broke up a couple times and this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought I quit college football. I was transferring colleges to go live with her in South Florida.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was. That's what I was going to do. No offense to her, because she's a very sweet girl. That would have been the biggest mistake of my life.
Ooh.
Biggest mistake.
Oh.
Okay. Because our
Oh,
lifestyles,
Jenna.
I know Jenna stinks.
Ugh.
Our lifestyles like today are totally different. Now, my
Yeah.
lifestyle I wouldn't be the
It
person.
wouldn't be the same.
I wouldn't be the same. And I wouldn't have
Mm-mm.
done the things that I've done. And
And you wouldn't have been as awesome because of me.
right. Well, that's the
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason
Sure.
theory, then that's why I said, like, I'm happy that happened.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I'm happy that
Thanks,
my
high school girlfriend.
my first marriage didn't work out. Right?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Crystal. Appreciate you.
But I mean, and she's a great girl.
She is very nice.
Very sweet, very nice.
Yeah.
And she's happily married with a great guy right now.
Yeah.
And she probably would say the same thing.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot from each other.
Mhm.
And
You were young.
And yeah, we're young, and she was younger than I was. But then that was the other thing, is she was younger than me.
I'm younger than you.
Yeah, you're younger than me.
9 years. 9, almost 10 years.
So that's my biggest, like, I don't know. That would be one of my biggest worries with Bees,
Yeah.
is that once he graduates, he's not going to be in that world anymore. And he's not going to say, hey, look, I'm coming over for the party.
So you know what? It's either going to make or break their relationship.
Right.
And there's literally nothing we can do to protect her from that, because she has to have that life experience and make those decisions for herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as much as like that's me saying that, and you know how crazy I am about bees. Like, I'm a freaking nutcase about bees.
But then you go, do you want her to waste the time to figure it out?
Yeah, but we don't get to say that.
I mean, we could talk to her about it. I mean, well, we are talking to her, and
Yeah.
if she listens, and I think she does, then we're talking to her right now. Bees, I hope you're listening.
I don't feel like it's a waste of her time if she really cares about him. And, if that's how she chooses to spend her time,
Mm-hmm.
and she's happy. And, if we're happy and healthy and level going through college, what else could we ask for?
I got to tell you, if I were that kid,
Uh-huh.
ginger ale,
Yep.
I would have given up going to the UGA game.
Oh, and came to podcasting. But in his defense, his parents were in town for Parents Weekend.
I understand that,
So
but he knows his
were
parents.
Yes. However, if Bees did that when we were in town, I would have been livid and lost my mind.
Here's the double standard. The girl doesn't have to. The guy does. The girl doesn't have to win over the parents. The guy has to win over the parents.
I am okay with giving him a pass on this one, just because if he's a mama's boy and like she feels any kind of way, like I can't, as a mom, take that away from her as it being Parents Weekend, because this is her last one that she gets before he graduates college, and she doesn't have another one.
This kid would have been Ginger Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like baller status.
He would have been,
if
however.
he would stop however.
All right.
If he would have say however, it's like a drinking game. If he would have come over and said, I left my parents at UGA to watch the game that shouldn't have been as close as it was for Parents Weekend, my last Parents Weekend in college.
Yeah.
Just to come over, because Bees only was over for like an hour and a half.
2
hours.
Yeah,
couple hours.
She was with us for a couple hours. Yeah.
Just to stop over, because I didn't want her to drive by herself from
That would've been
Athens
beast.
to Buford,
Beast.
Georgia.
Yep.
And then we're going back.
Yeah.
That would have been next level.
It would have been. I just can't take that away from his mama. Her last parents Weekend.
Dad should have said so. Dad was like, you boy, you like this girl? You better go win over that daddy. I heard that podcast. He's a hard guy. He's a hard nut to crack. You best drive over there and at least just show up and say hi.
You better follow them rules. Turn right back around. Come on back for your mama.
I don't know what this girl's dad does. It's kind of weird. He talks and tells people and people like him Facebook. I don't know what it is.
I hope he loves Jesus.
But as long as he loves Jesus, I don't know. I'm not making fun of this man. I've never met this man.
No, we haven't met them yet.
I've not met this man yet. So I did not know he was 20. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Okay.
But I will tell you my first reaction of how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad.
Yeah. I wasn't overly upset. I mean, I
don't know. I
mean, Caleb's
I want to be mad though.
Caleb's 23, and it would be like, because I have older brothers also, and it would be like, because he has a younger sister who is the same age as Beast. So it's kind of like if they went to school together and the girls were friends and like dating one of your siblings' friends, which is it kind of happens.
No.
I mean,
what's the oldest guy you ever dated when you were younger?
Caleb's father.
How old were you?
I was 15 going on 16.
He was a senior.
Caleb's father.
But,
I mean, so when I had Caleb, I was 16 and he was 18. So he was, yeah. And you're the oldest guy I've dated, older than me.
That's your answer should have been. It should be like, I dated this 49-year-old guy.
But so, yeah. So Caleb's father was friends with my older brother. And they were on the wrestling team together and sports and all the things. And they were just around, like we were around each other all the time. And so that's how that happened. And then Ariel's father was my age, and I had been in classes. I mean, I'd known him since we were little.
It was always weird to me if it were even a year older.
Yeah.
Like the whole MILF thing or Stacy's mom, got it going on. Like that was never sexy to me. And I think I dated not dated, but hung out, whatever, with this, because living in Sarasota, Florida, it's a tourist town. So you get a lot of people coming in and out of town for the weekend.
Sure.
And I was a local, so it just kind of worked out. And I remember these two girls. I remember this summer, these two girls came into town. I think this might have been, I think I was 19, 20, maybe.
So B's age.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was 23.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I'm having these like weird flashbacks right now. I just remember all of us hanging out and doing whatever. And I was like, God, she's kind of old. I mean,
I am 9 years younger than you. So you clearly like them younger. Your first wife was also younger than you.
I know that's not
it's not like your thing.
That's not the point.
Okay.
Follow along. The point is that there's, like, I guess in that 3 or 4 year age gap, there's little variables that set you apart, that make, the older, the younger, whether it's a song or it's a movie.
Oh, sure. There are going to be things. I mean, just the same with us and the difference.
Yeah,
your musical generation is way different than mine. I'm freaking Backstreet Boys all day.
Right. So that it's not relatable. And that makes you, like, I don't know. It kind of grossed me out. I guess that's my point. I was never into the older.
Does that make me gross?
No, not.
I'm asking because
not you. I'm talking about me. When I was younger, I wasn't into the older.
Right. I
woman,
understand what you're saying.
But women are more into the older guy than guys are into the older women.
Do you know why?
Because men age better.
No, it's because men mature slower.
I'll go with my answer.
No.
Men look better when they get older.
That's a true statement.
Right, there you go.
That is a true statement. However, there you go.
Drink.
They are. Man, I don't have a drink. You didn't give me an alcohol.
We're going to play the Rachel however game every time you say however.
All right. Who's getting drunk this time?
But men as they get older, that's why men will cheat on their wives, because
They want the younger?
their wives aren't getting prettier.
Oh my God.
And so
Bite your tongue.
it's not me. I'm saying men.
All right, so what are we talking about here? I am not 20 anymore. When we first started dating, I'm 40 now.
Oh,
So
I
what's
know.
up?
I see
What's
it.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're good.
Oh.
I mean, you've got another.
Would you like to die later?
Look, I mean, just in the next 10 years, I would just keep an eye on it.
Good thing we're opening this spa so I can regenerate my whole entire body
Yeah.
for Jason Bailey.
Might want to do a lot of ozone therapy.
No joke. Cellular regeneration so Jason Bailey can be happy and I can go back to
Look,
being 20.
This part of this conversation is not about me. I'm saying for men in general. When men cheat,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when you get older, like when men get older and they cheat on their wives and they've been with their wives for 30, 40 years, they don't feel guilty because
What?
I don't think they feel guilty when they do it, because they're like, look, my wife is not attractive anymore. I still love her. She's good people.
Shouldn't it be a conversation though?
I don't want to end. No, I mean, like if the guy goes out, he goes to a massage place or whatever he does, and he's like, you know what? I mean, I don't agree with it. I'm not saying I would do that. I'm just saying that's why guys do it.
I would hope you can't do that because I will cut you.
Yeah, I've got too much of a conscience. I couldn't do that.
I know that.
I don't.
I'm aware.
That's the problem with me. And I wish I didn't. Like, out of
Why?
all my flaws, I wish that I did not have a conscience. Like, I wish I could do horrible things and not lose sleep over it.
Well, it's kind of funny because people think that you do horrible things and it's really them.
Oh, I know.
But you get blamed for horrible things.
Oh, I know.
And then they forget all the good things that you do.
I
But
can't.
you're terrible.
I can't, like, even if I go to the store and they
Yeah.
give me the wrong change and they give me more money,
I know you always give it back.
I can't take it.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm a saint. It's just, it's not worth
You
it.
feel bad and you don't want the karma.
Like for
Nobody
$5,
wants that.
like, for $5, you're going to, like, you do that. It's just,
No, thank you. Keep that karma, sir.
All right. Well,
Yeah. Send it back.
I was going to talk about Ariel's class with this womanizing stuff, but I guess I'll save that for another day
Yeah, we can do that again.
because this was all about 23 and 19.
Surprise.
Now I can talk to Ginger Ale about this. Like, next
Sure.
time I see him, I can have a conversation.
What are you going to say to him? I don't know if you can. Let me filter.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I probably should.
no. I can do this. Is on me. I can do whatever I want.
Well, I'm aware. But
I
I probably should
See,
filter.
here's the thing with this situation. Now, if he were 19,
Uh-huh.
I would not have this conversation.
Correct.
But he's 23.
Yep.
I feel justified,
Okay, because he's older.
right? And he's about to start his life,
Yes.
that I can sit him down and say, what's the plan?
Okay. Yeah,
Like-
that's fair.
Like, what's your plan? Are you just hanging out with Ariel and
Yeah.
seeing where it goes?
Don't hurt her feelings. I will murder you.
Well, feelings are going to get hurt. That's can't
Yeah.
do anything about that.
Well,
Or like what personally, like what are your plans? That's, I want to
Okay.
know what
Yeah.
your plans are.
you get a life coming on. Let's go. Tell me all the things.
Because at that age,
Mm-hmm.
I had plans. I know,
Yeah.
shocker, but I had plans. and I had said to, I always wanted to get married and I always wanted to have kids and all this stuff. Now, my life,
You're welcome.
my life totally didn't turn out the way that I had painted the picture of.
No, you took on a lot of crazy.
A lot of crazy.
You're welcome. We invited you into Crazy Town.
So my plan was,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always this plan. This was the plan. It was, I'm going to get married when I make enough money. And there was an amount of money that I needed to make that I knew I could be married. Do you want to guess the amount of money I needed to make yearly in order to get married in my head?
What year was this?
This would have been 20 years ago,
20 years ago.
if not longer.
Oh, it was longer than that because we've been together for 13. You were married for
Okay, what's the
Okay.
number?
$50,000.
30.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You wanted to get married and have kids on $30,000 a year?
Yeah, I thought I was. And here's the.
Did you also want to be on welfare?
Well, here's the reason why is because when one day my mom and I are driving in Sarasota. I was a kid. I mean, I wasn't a kid. I was in high school.
Okay.
And I don't know if anybody remembers Barnett Banks, but Barnett Bank was a bank. It was a green and white. You know, we're
Is
driving.
it a Florida bank?
Probably.
Okay.
We're driving by Barnett Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was probably 15 at the time because I hadn't gotten my car yet. And one of my dream cars was a Ford Thunderbird, but the new Ford Thunderbirds at the time that was lowered and had like the step rail or the whale tail. So it was like a whole thing. And I wanted it in blue with the black tint window. It was a thing. And so there was a billboard on the other side of the street that said, you know, lottery, you could win X amount of dollars. And my mother said something to the effect of, you can live off of $2,000 a month.
Oh, Jim.
Or you should be able to live off of $2,000 a month.
That was an intelligent thing for her to say, but not factual.
Well, I think in her head, well, I mean, you look at her now, and factually, she does live off of less than that.
She does live. Yeah, you're right. Well, you know what? Tight work on the floor, Joan.
So I think in her head, at that time, I mean, if I were 15, you know, that would have been 1991-ish.
Okay.
You know, so times are different. Yeah. You know, still $30,000, not that, or $2,000 a month, not that amount, a huge amount of money.
Sure.
So when she said that to me, and she explained it to me. Now, there's a lot of things my mother said to me that I just discard, and there's reason for it.
Okay.
But I will never forget her telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it as gospel.
Okay.
And so ever since, I mean, today's obviously I think differently, but ever since that day, for years, decades moving forward, I was like, okay,
that's what you needed.
So that now here's dumb me. I'm going, well, 2 times 12 is 24. So if I'm making 30, I got an extra $6,000 in my pocket.
Oh no.
So I'm not taking into consideration taxes and bills and haircuts and food and living and gas and emergency and this and that. I'm not taking any of those things into consideration.
Right.
I'm just thinking, if I make $30,000 a year, 2 times 12 is 24,000. I'm going to have an extra $6,000 a year.
And you can afford kids on that.
I'll be living large.
The hell?
So when I got to the $30,000 mark, and I didn't make money in my career until about 10 years. Like I was in it for 10 years. I wasn't making jack. And so when I got to that amount, finally, I remember asking the first girl to move in with me.
Baby, I made $30,000 this year. It's go time. Let's come on over.
I was like, okay, Jason, it's time to grow up. It's time to move on. You're now making 30. I think I was making 32. I was like, all right, you're making $32,000. This is go time. Yeah, this is when you need to bring her in.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was all about a number to me.
Yeah.
It was all about a number.
You know, that's not how that works, right?
Really?
Do we know how expensive kids are?
Yeah. How expensive life is?
Real expensive.
Life's expensive.
Yeah, life is expensive. Kids are freaking 9 million times more than that.
I think if you make $32,000 a year, you're considered poor, like poverty.
Yeah, that's why I asked you if you wanted to be on welfare.
Oh.
You want to get married, have kids, all on $30,000 a year. That's get married, have kids, be on welfare.
But my mindset at that time too, going back to bees and ginger ale, is that and it wasn't maliciously, but I wasn't taking any girl I was dating or the girl that moved in with me's life into consideration, like what they want to do and what they want to be.
Right.
And that's
it was just you gonna make a wife and some babies.
Right. So that's me not only being naive, but selfish and greedy, unknowingly. Right. Yeah. So that's what I worry about with bees and ginger ale is that if he's got that kind of same mindset where it's like, okay, well, the plan was as I graduate college, I take over my father's business,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be making X amount of dollars. And so I want to get married because I want to start a family soon, and she's 19 and still
Yeah.
in college.
I don't think that your daughter is going to allow any of those things to happen out of her timeline, because there's zero laser focus, and she is very, very adamant on the fact that sure, she wants to get married someday, but she has to finish college first. She wants to start her career first. She wants to do all of these things, and she has a whole lot of you in her.
Yeah. I think we should get Ginger Ale on the podcast.
Okay.
I think we should set that up. And I think this conversation
Mm-hmm.
should happen on this platform.
All right.
I really
don't think he would be opposed.
I think Ariel might be opposed.
I don't know if she would either. I think she'd be all right.
All right. Well, you want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
And see what he
have that.
says.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting for the audience.
So how do you start this conversation? Well, listen, when I was your age, I thought that $30,000 a year was the way.
No. You don't give any ammunition. You don't give any color.
Yeah.
You just straight up say,
Let him go.
what's your plan?
Okay.
I mean, literally, hey, how you doing, Ginger Ale? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of weird, right? No other parents probably done this to you, but you know what I do, and you know who I am. I guess, you know enough. So I have one question for you, and that's it. What's your plan with my daughter?
Okay.
And see what he says, and then then I can bring the color in with the $30,000
yeah.
and stuff like that.
I think that would be a good gauge of character. If he can handle you, especially on the spot, with a microphone, I mean.
Yeah, this is a different me than in person, Dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. And if he can handle you, I don't know. He's got some good prep skills in him because he is a ginger.
Yeah.
He's been prepared for this his whole life.
I do believe that it will be the most listened to episode so far.
Absolutely.
For Honey, I Raised the Kids. If we get our daughter's boyfriend, Ginger Ale, on this podcast, so I can ask him one question and one question only. And that is, dude, what's your plan?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got to set it up. You got to book. You got to.
I got to book a guest.
You got to book it.
Ooh, I might be your best new little guest booker.
You got to book it.
Yeah, I got it.
You got to book it.
I'm on it.
All right. Well, let's finish things up here. This week on the podcast, on the BS podcast, we'll cover Podcast and Pours 3.
You don't want to miss any of this.
we'll replay, or we will not replay, but Wednesday's Freebay episode will be the broadcast that we recorded from Podcast and Pours 3. Unfortunately, there's no video, which I'll explain this week and why. So that will be there. We had a really cool special guests on the podcast and all kinds of good stuff. It was a lot of fun, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming out. For those that did come out,
we love y'all.
The social media. So there were people that came out that I had no idea you listened. I'd never met you before. And then two, I just didn't. Maybe I've met you before somewhere, but I didn't expect you to come. It's kind of weird. There's so many two peers that are so active on our social media that we
see certain names all the time that we know who y'all are.
Yeah. And they've just kind of become, part of our family, in real life.
Yeah.
And so we expect to see, the Terrors and the Vanessas and the Chris's and, and those types of people will come out. But, there were some people that I was like, oh my God. Hey, it's good to see you, and how are you, and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, girl, hey.
So it was really, really cool, and there were people from Orlando that came up, which was really cool.
Followed us right along on up to Georgia.
Yeah, and then the talk at PP3 was, we're going to Podcast and Pours 4. So, Georgia two peers are coming down to Orlando Saturday, December 14th.
We're ready to party.
And people are excited for the acoustic set with Saliva.
It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, really cool. And Distinct Grace, who just,
they crushed.
I cannot thank Chuck and Brent. Again, we'll talk about it on the BS podcast, but they just knocked it out of the park.
Hey, this is our parent podcast.
Knocked it out of the park.
They did. This is our parent podcast. So I have to tell you that I am so proud of Brandon. And I hope that you say something to him because he put a clean shirt on that didn't have any stain. It was like wash, clean, everything, and his good bank shoes.
I know.
He did a really good job.
I will point it out.
Thank you.
I promise you I'll point it out. I will point it out. That's not a problem.
Because he's only 25, so he's also a kid.
I understand that.
Yeah, and he did a really good job.
So Podcast and Pours 4, our next one will be December 14th. That's a Saturday in Orlando at a place called Elixir. Really cool venue that they've built next to the restaurant, the bar and the restaurant. It's outside with a covering. It's really cool, but it's intimate. So I mean, it's not like Tannery Row big, so we have a certain amount of people that we can put in there. And the band Saliva is headlining a special acoustic set. Distinct Grace will open up for them. We'll again have, all the little gimmicks and fun stuff that we did at Podcast and Pours 3 and we do at all the events that night. And those tickets are available on thebaileyshow.com. thebaileyshow.com. Under right there on the homepage is Podcast and Pours. Click on that and go to Podcast and Pours 4. And you can get your tickets there. We're doing it in conjunction with WJRR. One of the stations that our condensed version of the BS is on Saturday mornings from 6 to 9. It's my old station in Orlando, WJRR 101.1. We're also in Jacksonville Saturday mornings on Planet Radio, which is pretty cool. You can listen to that version of the podcast on the iHeartRadio app if you're not in those markets. So we got a lot of things going on and we want you to be a part of them, which includes the events. And, starting this week, I'm going to be working on Podcast and Pours 5.
Which is going to be badass
next year, if I can pull this off, because it's an idea that I've been wanting to do for over 15 years. And hopefully I'll be able to pull it off. So
y'all come along for the ride.
Yeah. So please be a part of it. Subscribe to the podcast. Obviously, that's first and foremost. So you can get all the episodes. You can unlock hundreds and hundreds of episodes there on the Spotify app, and it's only on the Spotify app for the subs. Do that via thebaileyshow.com. Also up there, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, so we can get those numbers up. The newsletter, now that I'm settled in, I can start getting those out regularly like I did before. And of course, sponsors. We're always looking for sponsors. Currently, I would absolutely love to have a title sponsor for all of our videos. Like this episode, the full show is posted on the BS YouTube channel. And
y'all want to jump on this one because everybody likes us.
So all of our videos, if you want your brand to be featured on all the videos, like every single video that the show puts out with content, I'm looking for a video title sponsor right now, currently, if that interests you, or you just want to sponsor the podcast and or the radio show. You can reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. All right. You got anything before we get out?
Bad moms unite.
Bad moms unite.
Woo.
Also, don't forget to give us a like, share, follow on social media. If you could share any of our content with somebody in your network that is not familiar with us, please do. Much appreciated. Just say, hey, give it a listen, give it a try. You dig it. Hopefully they will. At Listen to the BS on social. All right, look, have yourself a great, safe, fresh day. Always thanks for the support. We'll talk soon. Hey, bye.
I realize not everyone feels this way. And if you are okay with this stage of your life, honestly, more power to you.
Thanks for listening. Get more information and episodes on thebaileyshow.com.
Honey, I raised the kids.
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com. Yeah, baby.